know it's this. Take a perk and talk it and see. Money swallowed like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion new single, my hate up the better. Put on the road, I just spit. I know we got $1 million. The devil, that shit ain't not cheaper than again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. Here we present you different world stories and adaptations. This is the second part of Science vs. Heroes, DR.STONE vs. Hero Academia. Smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Everyone's stats is disclosed and a detailed report is made. Then dismissed. Second day. Hero Teacher Conference Room. This was the place where all the pro heroes that teach in UA High reunited to discuss what should be done about in the school. All the staff heroes Cementos, Ectoplasm, President Mike, Eraserhead, Midnight, Snipe, Vlad King, Power Loader, Hound Dog, 13 and All Might who was in civilian form, were all inside the room. They were waiting for Nezu because he said there was some interesting news about a class on the regular course. That was interesting. Soon the rodent principal appears in the room with a smile. "Good morning everybody," said Nezu to his fellow hero friends. "Morning Principal Nezu," said most of the pro heroes. Nezu sits on his chair and soon picked some papers and was ready to start the meeting. "So, what is this all about?" asked President Mike. "Well, I was doing an overall look all the results from the PE test of all the class of the school. And taking aside the hero course, there one other class that took my interest because their results were almost in part with the ones of the hero students," said Nezu, shocking his colleagues. "Another class that could match with the hero course." "What are you talking about?" asked 13. "What class did this?" asked Aizawa. "Class 1D from regular course," said Nezu, surprising the others. "Isn't that the class that didn't even try for the hero exam?" asked President Mike. "Yeah, for some time the class that didn't try out for the exam nerve showed people with outstanding features. This year is different," said Nezu, intriguing his coworkers. "So, you are saying that some students there picked you're interested?" asked Midnight. "A few. There were many fine choices, but I keep coming back to the same people," said Nezu, being honest. "Who are they?" asked Cementos. "These two," said Nezu, showing the files of Senku and Tsukasa. "Senku Ishigami and Tsukasa Shishio," said Aizawa, looking at the students' files. "Wait, isn't this the strongest primate teenager? The kid who been fifth in the Rhine since he was 12? asked President Mike in shock. "You follow Teen Resting?" asked Vlad King, confused. "Of course. This kid is awesome. He defeat 20 guys in just one night. He is pretty much brutal to his opponent," said President Mike. "Such young and in a world of violence," said All Might, looking worried at Tsukasa picture. "Apparently he is very reserved and doesn't talk that much to the press," said Nezu after doing a little research on Tsukasa last night. "I see. I can relate to that," said Aizawa, looking at Tsukasa pictures. "So, what is your plan, Nezu?" asked Hound Dog. "Well, while I think all of these students have future, I was thinking on putting Senku on the support course and Tsukasa in the hero course," said Nezu, shocking his colleagues. Rarely he decided to put students in different courses. "Really?" asked Snipes, confused. "Yeah, look at Senku grades. He's been the first of his class ever since kindergarten. A mind like him would be perfect for the support course," said Nezu, showing Senku grade history, and to be honest it was really good. There was only 100% in top of the class scores. That impressed the teachers, especially Power Loader. "This is Senku is amazing. Look at these calculus and theories. We could really use him around the workshop. Why didn't he try out for my course?" said Power Loader, looking at Senku Phil in wonder. "I guess he wanted to be on his own," said Cementos with a chuckle. "I can't let this happen. We need to have him there," said Power Loader with a voice full of hope. "This Senku could be one of the next generation's great inventors." "Sure, Power Loader," said Nezu with a smile. "And about Tsukasa?" asked Midnight to both Vlad King and Eraserhead. "We can hold him a spot for the next semester. Many times, a student either leaves the position or is kicked out. I know is the start of the class, but this is the reality," said Aizawa. He saw that many times during his period as a hero student. "True, most of the time the pressure of being a UA student is too much for a young person to handle," said Vlad King. "So, are you two ox with that?" asked Ectoplasm. "I am," said Vlad King. "What is his quirk?" asked Aizawa, trying to find that part in Tsukasa file. "Power boost. That gives him the strength and speed of over 100 growing man," said Nezu, surprising his coworkers. "Impressive strength for someone that young," said All Might, looking at Tsukasa file with interested. "Good. In that case, Eraser, can you be a good person and go to 1D and call them here?" said Nezu to the baggy man. Sure, but you know that I hate doing that, said Aizawa, leaving the room. A few minutes later, 1D, the class was having a science lecture, and while Keisuke was trying to give a nice easy way to give explanations, Senku decided to go full out on this one. Because this is how he is. So, you see that these particles are not comparable to those ones. They are from a different kind of class, said Senku, talking about the lecture to his classmates. Many of them were confused. But how? Asked Minami. Yeah, you were right, Senku. Good call, said Keisuke, praising his student, explaining. Interesting explanation, said Hyoga. Is just a similarity of characters, but the rest are not in common, asked Chrome to Senku. Correct. 10 billion points to Chrome, said Senku, pointing out to the guy with a headband on his head. Thanks, said Chrome, all excited. You know that means nothing, said Kohaku with a sarcasm mode. Shut up. I have more points than you, screamed Chrome. This guy sure is something, thought Tsukasa, looking at Senku. Well, since that part is over, let's get to, said Keisuke, ready to go to another point into his lecture. Soon Eraserhead appeared on the front door and the entire class went silent. Because it was a pro hero right there in their doorsteps. People like Yo, Jinro, Minami and Nikki went complete in shock upon seeing the hero there. The pro hero here, thought most of the class in shock. Oh, hello Eraserhead. What can I help you? Asked Keisuke to the hero. We need to have a talk with 2 of your students, especially the principal, said Aizawa, making the whole class confused. Who? Asked Keisuke. Senku Ishigami and Tsukasa Shishio, said Eraserhead, surprising the class. Both students looked confused at that statement. The year just started, and they were being called by for the principal office. What, Senku? Screamed Teiju, looking at his best friend. And why they would want Tsukasa? Asked Minami. I don't know, said Akayo. What is going on? Asked Yo. Is this real or is a prank? Asked Nikki. Both students only looked at each other with some glares, almost like communicating with each other, and then gave their answers. Sure, if the principal is calling, said Senku, getting off his desk. Yeah, we can't let him wait, said Tsukasa, also getting off his desk. They both went off with Eraserhead, leaving a very confused class 1D behind. Boy, this was tense, said Jinru. What do you think the principal wants with them? Asked Kirasame. I don't know, said Kinro. Well, our principal is a hero, so maybe is something related with the hero course, said Francois. I bet that too, said Magma, all pissed that he wasn't chosen. But still, why would they call Senku and Tsukasa? Asked Chrome. I don't know. Event they had seemed to not care that much for heroes yesterday, said Akayo. Sensei, since you are a member of the staff, how does things happen with the pro heroes around here? Asked Hyoga. Oh no, Hyoga, actually I don't know. For you see, me and the others regular course teachers don't have meeting with the teachers from the hero course, said Keisuke, surprising the class. Are you serious? Asked Tamura. Yeah. They have a whole section all for themselves, even with a huge table for meeting like in those comic books, said Keisuke with a laugh. So, you and the others are excluded from the important meeting? Asked Kohaku, all pissed. We're heroes, all that snob that the regular staff had to go somewhere else. I wouldn't say that Kohaku is, just since UA is mostly viewed as a hero school, the pro hero teacher get all the shoots around here. But they don't treat us badly, we still have the same amount of level of respect between each other, said Keisuke. I hope you right, sensei, said Her. Is not like they have better paychecks. We all have the same amount, said Keisuke. But they get more for being pros, thought Ryusui, a little bit irritated with that. I just hope Senku and Tsukasa are fine, said Teiju. Yeah, who knows what they can do if working together, said Gen with his arm crossed and a Cheshire smile on his face. On the halls of UA High, Senku and Tsukasa only followed Aizawa, all quiet and normal, like nothing was about to happen. That made the pro hero a little off. Those two are very quiet, they haven't opened their mouth ever since we left class, thought Aizawa. Aren't you two gonna ask what the meeting is about? Asked him, wanting to get some talk out of them. No, I want to be surprised, said Senku with a cocky smile. Same here, said Tsukasa, all neutral. Aizawa only looks weird at those two teens and wonders what did Nezu saw of so much special on them to put them in different courses. But what can he do against the principal of UA orders? We're here, said Aizawa, opening the door of the principal office. They all enter and saw the entire hero staff there waiting for them. Oh, Mr. Aizawa, thank you for bringing both Mr. Senku and Tsukasa here, said Nezu with a smile. Sure, said Aizawa, going to his sit. Is a pleasure to have you two here, Mr. Senku and Mr. Tsukasa. Please take a sit, both of you, said Nezu, showing two chairs in front of the two where they could both sit. The boys did that and took a sit, but they still felt weird with a bunch of pro heroes looking at them like if they were lab experiments. They have something to say and I don't like this, thought Senku as he analyzed the room and the heroes' expressions. Principal Nezu, I know, is cool enough to be in your office and be surrounded by pro heroes. but we have things to do in our daily, said Senku all calm and collected. Yeah, we have class and we can't miss our lectures, said Tsukasa all normal, but something about him seemed off. Why are you two so worried about classes? Is the lecture hard? Asked Mike, trying to act a little jokey. Not for me is actually easy, but there are some boneheads that need some help, and hey, what can't you do for your fellow classmates? Said Senku with a sarcasm tone. Isn't he a little cocky, thought a few of the teachers. Well, we promised to be short on this meeting. I am here to give you two a proposition, said Nezu. A proposition? Asked Tsukasa. What are you talking about? Asked Senku. I was looking at both your files and saw that you two are very gifted boys. Senku, your intellect is so advanced that you will be perfect for the support course, and Tsukasa, I would like to inform you that we put you in an open spot for the hero course. Sure, a young man like you who fought hard for years sure would like to fight villains for the good of a good society. So, what do you two boys think? Asked Nezu with a smile. Both boys seemed astounded by that. Nezu was offering them to go to different courses, Senku to the support course and Tsukasa to the hero course. This is big. Any other student would say yes immediately, but both of them were still trying to process all this. They look in shocked, said Cementos with a laugh. Oh, my is like a child receiving gifts from Santa. That turns me on, said Midnight, licking her lips. Come on, Nimuri, said Vlad King with a sweat drop. Senku and Tsukasa were still stunned and a little confused by all this. Was this real? The heroes wanted the indifferent courses. So, boys, what are your answers? If you want, we can give you two some, said Nezu, but Senku interrupted him. I already have my answer, said Senku with a smile, surprising everyone. Oh really? That's goods to know, said Nezu all happy. My answer is 10 billion%. No, said Senku with a confident smile. That answer shocked everyone in the room, including Tsukasa. What, why? Asked Power Loader in shock. Yes, sorry, but I don't work for heroes, said Senku all relaxed. That said of some bad vibe between all the pro heroes. The way that Senku spoke was really bad. What did you said? Asked Vlad King. Don't you want to use your intellect to create a better society? Asked 13. Is not that. I want to help make a better place, but I am going to that with science and not heroism, said Senku while poking his ear in front of everyone else. Well, can't you at least you think again, young man? I mean, with your intellect, heroes will sure to have a great support at their side, said Toshinori Yagi with a wise voice. Senku sees Toshinori and could see something familiar on this guy. He couldn't just tell what. Who are you, old man? Why aren't you with the regular staff? This is for the hero course only, said Senku, making everyone there uncomfortable. Oh, Toshinori Yagi, All Might personal assistants, said Toshinori. All Might, huh? Where he is at? Asked Senku, intrigued. Well, he is busy at the moment, so he asked me to stay here and tell him what did he missed on the meetings, said Toshinori with a quirky smile. Right? Said Senku with a doubt look. He didn't buy Toshinori argument. Toshinori only gulps at Senku look. He didn't like that look. But overall, I have more important goals to accomplish. Plus, all my friends and colleagues are in 1D, so I prefer stay there, said Senku. I still think you should think a little more. I can give you some time until you choose, said Power Loader, still hopping that Senku would go to his class. You are only gonna waste that time, man, thought Senku. Well, thanks, but don't put your hopes on me. Once I'm set on one thing, I'm only going towards that, said Senku, giving his statement. And Mr. Tsukasa, what is your answer? Asked Nezu. Tsukasa was silent this whole time, but the fact that the principal asked him into joining the hero course was enough to make him be disgusted just by the words. Heroes only made his life worse, didn't protected him and his sisters, almost made them lose everything, caused his father to lose his job and left them, and finally a hero caused Mirai to get into a coma. Tsukasa looked at the smiling rodent hero and said, I would rather die than become a hero, said Tsukasa all dark with a glare of hatred. That answer shocked everyone in the room. Senku himself was also taken back by that. Sure, he didn't like heroes, but he wouldn't say that to their faces. As you expected, the reactions from the pros ranged from shock to downright angry. Young man, why would say such a thing? Asked Toshinori, trying to get closer to Tsukasa, but Senku brushed him off. I don't want to be part of your society. It makes me sick, said Tsukasa all cold. That didn't help, that only made things worse. Now the teachers didn't like that tone of voice and attitude towards them. Being disrespectful to a pro hero is almost unheard in today's age, and the fact that Senku and Tsukasa didn't care for that really made things awkward. Well, since the things were settled, both me and Tsukasa said no, so we will be going back to our class, said Senku with a smile. Agreed, said Tsukasa, leaving alongside Senku. But before they could reach the exit, both Cementos and Snipe blocked the door with disapproving nods to the two teens. That made the two surprised. "Not so fast, you two," said Cementos. "Actually, both of us are needed to stay here for a while," said Snipe. "What is going?" asked Aizawa, surprised at his colleague's way of response. Cementos, "Snipe, please let me handle this," said Nezu. "Wow, what is this whole thing?" asked Senku, not liking this. "We told you two to sit down. We still have a lot to talk," said Cementos. "Is that a threat?" asked Tsukasa, clutching his fist. "We are still on class time. We want to go back to our course. Just let us go, man," said Senku, trying to act all irritated. "Really? We checked your file and grades is the last thing that you needed it to be worried, Mr. Ishigami," said Snipe. "We have now a few questions to give to you too," said Cementos. "He is right. Just because you have different ideologies doesn't mean you can say those things to the hero course teachers," said Snipe, surprising the teachers and the two teens. "Ideologies?" asked Senku, now realizing the situation. "What are you talking about?" asked Tsukasa, still pissed. Senku could see the reactions in the hero's eyes. A genius teen who refused to work for heroes and a powerful teen fighter that said that he hated heroes. For them, they were seeing two villains in the making. If they had read it Hero Lessons for Dummies, they would know that the best way to stop a teen from becoming a villain is to be nice to him and not interrogate him like action movie. Senku knew what card to play next. "He think we are villains. Okay, cowboy hat, you ask for it," thought him with an angry look that turned with a confident smirk. "I wouldn't do that if I were you. For you see, you can only apprehend a hero course student. But me and Tsukasa are not from that course. Any harm you all bring to us and we can sue the school," said Senku with a victory smile. That answer shocked everyone in the room except for Nezu and Aizawa, who remained calm. "What? That can be true?" asked Snipe. "Yeah, you made it up," said Vlad King on his chair. "Actually, he is right," said Nezu, shocking everyone around him. "Huh," said Cementos and Vlad King, confused. "Page 42 of the UA agreement that you all signed is on the website of the school so the parents can understand the rules of the school," said Nezu. "Wait a minute, that thing is on the contract. I didn't know that," screamed Mike. "Yes, did any of you read the agreement?" asked Nezu. "I did, and they are right," said Aizawa. Senku only smirked and see that the heroes felt defeated in their own office. If there is one thing that today heroes are more afraid than supervillains is a lawsuit. Cementos and Snipe went back to their seats, all sad for what they had done, as Nezu gives his judgment. "You two can go," said Nezu. "Yeah, thanks. Let's go, Tsukasa," said Senku with a smile as Tsukasa only follows him. As soon as they two left, the resto of the pros looked over to Snipe and Cementos, who still had the face of childs who did something wrong. "Why did you two did that?" asked Mike, nearly screaming. "I don't know, those words really made us go forwards. It was almost like they were both insulting us," said Cementos, being honest. "They see all against us, the heroes, but why?" asked Power Loader. "Why was Tsukasa so pissed?" asked Midnight. "I don't know," said Hound Dog, looking at Tsukasa file. "I can have a little search over these two histories," said Nezu. "We left a bad impression on them," said 13, feeling awful. "Honestly, I didn't like their comments either, but I knew to control myself. You all saw that I didn't wrap them with my cloth," said Aizawa. "True," said Vlad King. "He knew Eraserhead was a very rigid guy." "Can you show to me the result of that class again?" asked Toshinori. Nezu did that and show on holograms all the results from 1D PE test results and their academic history, and to be fair, so far it was really good. "They are hero class worth." "For real?" asked President Mike. "Correct. Have I been wrong before?" asked Nezu, all focused in studying the 1D file results. The heroes looked at the results and Nezu was right. They were good, some were powerful, and some were super smart. They even had people like a boy who came from a long line of military man, one of the richest boys in the country, and so many others. Great choices. "I don't know how we can show them the possibilities that they have for their future," said Midnight, looking at the files with a wonder. "I think I know a way to get into their hearts the joys of doing some work," said Toshinori with a confident smile. Toshinori's answer made everyone in the room confused. What was in the mind of that old man? "What are you saying?" asked Aizawa. "I was thinking that if you all couldn't reach into their hearts, then maybe All Might can," said Toshinori, transforming into All Might, and that made some of the hero teacher have a smile on their face. "Maybe you're right. I will see a day that you can pass there," said Nezu, understanding All Might plan. The heroes all had their smile back. They can pass this event as just a bad first encounter, but with All Might there, Senku and Tsukasa would apologize for their rude behavior. There is no way a class could dislike the #1 hero. Back at the two teens, both boys walked silent back to their classroom. None of them wanted to speak about their answer. Like Senku refuses to work with heroes because of his devotion to science, and Tsukasa for some reason prefer death over becoming a hero. While this nice silent was welcoming, Tsukasa then opened his mouth. "Hey Senku," said Tsukasa. "Yeah," said Senku. "Thanks for saving our asses back there. I didn't know about that part on the contract," said Tsukasa, thanking Senku. "Is okay. They are super busy with hero work and being teacher. I knew that at least one of them have read that huge thing," said Senku with a smirk. "Sure," said Tsukasa with a small laugh. They all kept walking, but Tsukasa still had questions to ask. "Do you really don't want to be a part of the support course? They could have a better lab for you to work," asked Tsukasa, giving generously good question, and then Senku went honest with him. "They will be forcing me to make inventions that only benefit heroes or CEO of huge companies. When I graduate, I will make my inventions to benefit my life, not some pro-hero's life," said him all serious. "Is good that you value your morals," said Tsukasa. "True, but what are you talking about moral?" asked Senku, and Tsukasa now went deep on his beliefs. "We live in a society where the heroes are worshipped as God and saviors when in reality they cause so much damage and we are so blind to see it," said him all serious. He is sick of heroes always saying we are here for you when clearly they tend to not save everyone in the country. "Why this deep talk? If you don't like heroes is okay," said Senku with a smile at that as they keep walking. Senku saw that with Tsukasa talk now it would be the perfect time to say his plan for the future. "Tsukasa, you seem like a trustworthy man for information. So, I will tell you something," said Senku, stopping mid-tracks to talk with Tsukasa. "What is it?" asked the giant teen. Senku only smirked and start. "My main plan while I'm studying here is to make our class beat the hero course. Both 1A and 1B, said Senku all serious. Tsukasa was taken back by that statement. A regular course beat the hero course, both of them. "What are you talking about?" asked Tsukasa in disbelief. "You know, since I was a kid everyone saw my intelligence as my quirk." "They are wrong. They kept telling me that I could be a great hero, but I always let those stupid arguments pass through me. I am sick of heroes, and especially the students of their course always get the best of everyone. So, if we prove them that we are better, then that makes the pro-heroes all look fools. This is the school that All Might went to, so it would be bad for his image that a regular course beat his course. Think about it. Is nothing evil or diabolical, is just poetic vengeance. Besides, losing can make those dorks into better heroes," said Senku with a smirk, a diabolical smirk. Tsukasa was surprised by that statement. For years the hero course in school dominated the media. It was becoming overrated and boring, and now he sees someone willing to defeat the most popular hero course in the country. That would be on the news. "You would do that?" asked Tsukasa, still in disbelief. "Sure. The first step I need to do it is making everyone of our class at my side. Is gonna take a while, but I think I can manage that," said Senku, revealing his plan. "Senku, I still have doubts," said Tsukasa. "As much he want this, he doesn't know if this is possible. Even with his strength and Senku intellect, it would take a lot to defeat hero students." "Is okay, man. You are smart. Think about it. Imagine we the regular course defeating the overpraised hero one. It's a once-on-a-lifetime opportunity, man. Besides, you know where to find me," sighs Senku with a smirk. "Because they are on the same classroom and near each other desks." "All right," said Tsukasa with a smile. "Thanks, man," said Senku, fist bumping Tsukasa. Soon Tsukasa and Senku went back to their class, who was finishing about the lecture. As soon as they arrived, everyone was happy to see them. "Hey there," said Senku to the class, and Teiju was already all relief. "Senku, you returned," screamed Teiju. "Teiju-kun, sit down and stop shouting," said Keisuke, scolding the muscular boy. "Sorry, sensei," said Teiju with a bowing. The two then went to their seats while some of their classmates asked what happened between the pro-heroes and the principal. "So Senku, what did the principal wanted to talk with you too?" asked Kohaku. "No, nothing much. Just telling me about my future, be on the look for scholarships, say that UA is the best school in the country," said Senku, making up the reason so the class wouldn't get worried. "So, the usual?" asked Yuzuriya with a smile. "Yeah," said Senku with a cocky smile. "And you big guy?" asked Gen to Tsukasa. "Just to rest after a long fight. They worried for being on the wrestling league and also having class," said Tsukasa, also making up the reason of why he was called. "Okay, is like you are a celebrity of some sort," said Rusu, irritated. "Well, class, since Senku-kun and Tsukasa-kun are back, let's return to our next topic, English. Now pick your books on Moby Dick," said Keisuke, picking his copy of the book. "Yeah," screamed Rusu, all excited to read and talk about Moby Dick, and the entire class laughs at the rich boy reaction. Later that night on the city, at his home, Senku was doing some researches on some rocks that he found on the streets. Meanwhile, Tsukasa was winning another fight as the crowd goes wild. Even in those different scenarios, both boys had the same thought in their heads. What do I want to be in my life? Thought them while doing his things. So yes, Senku and Tsukasa first contact with the heroes wasn't that good. They are very tight with their beliefs, and having a pro hero having the whole speech isn't gonna chance that. Is that Senku was raised in a different environment and Tsukasa had his whole life ruined by heroes. So, you can sympathize with them. Now next time, the president election and meeting a green-haired boy, a teen with engines in his legs and girl with gravity powers. It was a normal day at UA Height, mostly for class 1D. All the students were listening to a biology class, and like always, Senku was stealing most of the attention because he was getting everything in the lecture confirmed with his infinity knowledge. Excellent job, Senku, said Keisuke, praising his student. Thank you, said Senku with a cocky smile and either receiving praise or grunts from his fellow students. Do you ever get something wrong? Asked Chrome, now curious. Nope, sometimes some of my theory doesn't work, but everything that I pay attention I always tend to get it right, said Senku. Yes, Senku has been on the top of our class ever since kindergarten, said Teju. Smart pants, said Yohating, that guy. But in combat he is not the best one, said Yuzuriya with a little smile. Yeah, I told you all that in terms of physical strength I am the weakest here, said Senku, and he was right. He got last place in the PE testing. So how didn't you get away from bullies? Asked Kohaku. I had Teju to protect me, said Senku, pointing at his childhood friend. So, you always saved him in a time of need? Asked Nikki to the buff teen. Of course, Senku is my best friend. If wasn't for him I would probably still be at middle school. But with his help he got me into UA, but also other stuff. I almost owe my life to Senku, said Teju, now in tears. Everybody was now really weirded out about Teju's whole emotional speech. In another place that would be some tear-jerk scene, but in that class that felt extremely weird. How corny, said Magma, disgusted. Yeah, said Chrome, weird out. How can he still be crying after this whole lifetime thing? Asked Kirisama with a sweat drop. Keisuke only chuckles of that scene. This year students really were something different. A few classes later, Keisuke was now with a huge pile of papers and a smirk into his face. That got the class attention. What would that old man be plotting now? Okay everyone, I have some important announcement to make today, said Keisuke, all serious, making the whole class tense and start to think 1,000 thoughts for a second. Oh, what is it? Asked Akayo. More training, thought Tsukasa. Quick quizzes, thought Yo in horror. Maybe as a gift, thought Jinro with a smile of hope. You all should pick a class president, said Keisuke. The piece of news made the entire class confused. He was almost building up something epic, and it was actually a thing very common in shock. Something so school-like, thought the class, and soon almost everyone in the classroom started to offer to be class president. Pick me, said Kohaku, raising her hand with a smile. I want this, screamed Jinro. Magma for president, screamed Magma. No way, dumbass. I'm going to become president, said Yo. Shut up, weirdo, said Magma to the eye patch teen. What did you say? Asked Yo, pissed. Enough, both of you, said Nikki, hitting the two idiots over their heads. Keisuke had enough of that bunch of nonsense and then decided to raise his voice. Silence, screamed him, hitting his desk so hard that broke in half. Every student in the classroom stopped their shouting and then went to be quiet and look calm in front of the buffed old man. Sorry about this. The robots would fix my desk after lunch, said Keisuke with a laugh. The entire class was now ready to start voting for whoever has the best position to become class president. So, let's begin voting, said Chrome. But how are we gonna know who to vote? We know each other for less than a week, said Francois. Yeah, most of us will end up voting for themselves, said Magma. I know this guy will, said Kohaku, pointing at Jen. The voting to myself. Please, I like power, but I don't want to have to deal with all the responsibility, said Jen with his usual cryptical talk. You are lying, said Kinro. I'm telling my honest opinion. I swear, said Jen with a simple smile. So, tell us, mentalist, how do you see this voting ending up? Asked Senku. Jen looked around at his classmates and soon comes up with a logical conclusion. Looking at my colleagues, I can say that they are willing to go either with themselves, the smart choice or the physical choice. I mean, we need either a smart or a strong person guiding us, and we all know who are rooting for right, asked Jen with his Cheshire cat smile. That made the students all stop what they were thinking and admit that Jen was right. The class would need either smart person or either a strong person to lead all of them, and the choices were pretty obvious. Why I'm correct? Asked Jen with a cocky smile. Many of the students were in shock. What Jen said made sense and could actually happen. Now you done it, said Yo, pissed that the bastard figure out. You are a figure, Jen, said Hyoga. While we live in an amazing world, I need to stand out, said Jen with a cheap smile. I hate this guy, but he is right, said Senku with a smile. Asin the magician is more than just a huge liar. He is very good at people reading too, said Tsukasa. Let's just vote anyway, said Ryusui. Alright, you might be right this time, but this is it, said Magma. Oh yeah, I can see all the events that are going to happen in these classrooms for the next 3 years, said Jen with another huge smile. Would just shut up, said Akayo. Poll results. Akayo 1, Minami 0, Francois 0, Jinro 0, Hamura 0, Ryusui 2, Matsukaze 0, Yo 1, Magma 1, Gen 0, Hyoga 0, Nikki 0, Yuzuriha 0, Kinro 0, Kirisama 0, Teiju 0, Tsukasa 7, Senku 7, Kohaku -1, Chrome 0. Wow, said Chrome surprised by the results. Tsukasa and Senku are both tied for president, said Kohaku. Both boys looked at each other in surprise for the results. None of them expect this much of votes. Now they need to decide which one will be the president. So, what now? Asked Akayo. Well, since we have 2 people tied for first place, we can have another election. Only this time everyone will vote for either Senku or Tsukasa, said Keisuke. Like a runner-up? Asked Kohaku. Exactly, said the old man with a smile. But how we will know who to vote? Asked Nikki. Senku, Tsukasa, can you two get up? I would like you two to answer some questions in front of the class as almost if this was a presidential debate, said Keisuke to the 2 teens. Sure, said Senku. I have no problem with this, said Tsukasa. Both went up to the front of the class and weren't with not a single bit of fear or never. Both of them were so calm that it was almost unbelievable. First, let's start with Senku. Now tell us, Senku, if you were elected class president, asked Keisuke to Senku, who only smirked at this. Well, my main idea to get this class to the top is using the main power that helped the world evaluate for thousands of years even before the quirks appears. I will use science to make us achieve to not only excellent chart scores, but also, I will do something that will complete change UA forever. Vote for me and I will tell you all my plan, said Senku with a confident look in his face. The entire class was speechless and rather intrigued for what Senku might offer them if they vote for him. He was the smartest guy in class, so he must have some big plans for their future. Teiju and Yuzura trust him with their lives, so maybe there is a good future if they listen to him as class president. That's good, said Ryusui, intrigued. And progressive. I would like that, said Kirisame. Now Tsukasa, what would you do if you become president of the class? Asked Keisuke to the huge teen. Tsukasa took a deep breath and started to talk. I believe that this class has a huge potential. However, most of us are stuck to the daily routines that most people are accustomed to. If I'm elected, I promise to give all of you a booster of power, both in physical and philosophical way. I want to see a class in full power, and I will do to great lengths to see that, said Tsukasa, all simple and a little cold sometimes with his tone. That left most of the class intrigued and interested in his propose. Become a stronger class, that means they could beat all the major ones that UA spotlight, including the hero course. He was already a fighting champion for some years now, so who better to guide them than an unstoppable monster? Wow, said Nikki. Who wouldn't go with that? Said Yo with a smirk. I guess he makes sense, said Akayo. Keisuke only looked now with an intrigued face at his students. One was making a plan to train the class via scientific plans, while the others believed that the most important was making most of them physical gifted and use whatever ability that they have as their main weapon. Almost like the making of a utopia, while Senku is trying to make things easier for all the others' classmates. Well, since it's almost lunchtime, you can decide it after lunch. Alright, said the old man. Sure, said both Tsukasa and Senku. Lunch? Senku was with Teiju and Yuzuriha. He was thinking of his chances of becoming class president for a while now. He needs that position if he wants the class at his side for his future scientific projects and plan. Whatever it takes, he is gonna have to step up his game and deliver a powerful in-game tool to win the election. But right now, he was just at the lunch line with his childhood friends. Hey Senku, aren't you nervous with the whole election thing? Asked Yuzuriha. No, I'm fine. Just want to see how the minds of everyone play out with those 2 speeches. I knew Tsukasa was deep at dawn, said Senku with a chuckle. But you could get the position of vice president. This doesn't look that bad, said Teiju. I guess so, but I feel that I was destined to be in charge of that class. I know it sounds corny, but this is how I'm used to do things, and you two know that, said Senku, and both of his friends nodded. They know how serious Senku likes to be in power, but he always do this for the best, and like he always said, every problem you can solve using any kind of science. That is a method that he has been using ever since kindergarten. Senku was looking around with all the different kind of people and their quirks and personalities having a good time in the lunchroom. He was fine with that. He just wished that every table wasn't talking about hero or something hero related. If he stand on this line, he would be hearing a hero lifetime story, and that would make his headaches grew so much. "Can you guys take my order? I will pick our seats," asked him. "Sure," said Yuzureha. "Yeah, thanks Senku, you are the best," said Tejo. "Whatever," said Senku, going off the line. Senku looked around and saw how many kind students were at UA High. There are probably thousands of people here, but only 120 are from the hero course, so the rest has useless or not very experiment quirks to be used. Senku always believed that every quirk has a good way to being used at some situation. Not always, because there are times that quirks ended up running business and messed up with this country economy. One secret that Senku had is that he really admires the quirkless. Why? Because they are the living breath of a person from thousands of years into the past, one that managed to crawl humanity out of the Stone Age into modern society. With only hard work, the average man can do anything. So that's why he hated on how society decided to go around with quirks as the solution for everything. Look at all these people. They rather waste body energy doing ridiculous tasks when a normal person would do that and have no problem whatsoever, thought Senku, seeing some people using their quirks for ridiculous reason to do silly things. It might look cool in visual, but when you think about it, it's just lazy way of living. He then looks around and found a nice table all free with no one there sitting. "This spot looks good," said Senku. He sits on a chair and types on his phone to Teju that he found the spot. So far nothing major, that is, until some people appear. "Excuse me, but is this table full?" asked a sweet and bubbly voice. He then turns around and saw 3 people he never seen before. A girl with brown hair and pink cheeks, a tall teen with glass, and a nervous kid with green hair. Senku decided to give them the others free spots since he wasn't a rude person. "Only these 3 spots. The rest is all yours," said him while still looking at his phone. "Oh, thanks my fellow UA student. Thank for your generosity," said Ida. "He talks like a robot," thought Senku, confused. "Yeah, whatever," said him, trying to pay no attention to these peoples. Senku then start to look more into the news about what is happening around Japan and all the new hot deals in the scientific field. There was a major news about swallows being turned into stones, and no one else could find the reason. That was something that he would definitely check later once he gets home. He also looks at the others teen talking with themselves, which he thanks God that they weren't talking to him. At least they are not trying to talk to, thought him until, "So, what is your name?" asked Uraraka. "Shit," thought Senku. He hated to interact with energetic people, they were difficult to convince. Names is Senku Ishigami, Emma Chako Uraraka, Tenya Ida, Izuku Midoriya. "Nice to meet you all. So what course are you all from?" asked Senku. If they started a conversation, might as well participate. "We are from the hero course," said Uraraka. "Hero course," said Senku, surprised. Senku didn't expect to come across the students of the hero course this early in the start of his school year. So far nothing major, they weren't arrogant or shouting all might quirk. So Senku decided now to pay full attention to what they have to say. "Yeah, is there a problem with that? You look a little off," asked Midoriya. "Look, not all people are interested to know how the hero course is. Some of us just see UA as just another high school, and I also see this way," said Senku, surprising the others' team on how mature he was. "Wow Senku-kun, you are so mature," said Uraraka, impressed by him. "That's nothing, is just basic human thinking," said him. "But are you sure about this? Most people tend to go to UA in the hopes to become a hero. Don't you see yourself helping humanity?" asked Ida, a little confused about Senku commentary. Senku saw this guy named Tenya, and he could see right away that he was someone that was raised to always listen to the heroes, and upon hearing his last name it wasn't that much of a surprise. "You said your last name is Ida, right? Isn't your family a famous hero one?" asked Senku, surprising both Midoriya and Uraraka, while Ida only approves. "That is correct. I appreciate your knowledge. I'm the second son of the family. My older brother Tensei is the superhero Ingenium, and one day I hope to reach his status." Is his determination and his way to the rules and regulations that made him a truly beloved hero. Is because of him that I decided to walk at this same destined to one day fight crime alongside him, said Ida, very emotional. "Wow, that's so cool," said Uraraka. Senku only analysis this conversation. He knows about Ingenium, and he admits he liked the heroes because he is not a walking merchandise like many others heroes nowadays. It makes sense that his younger brother would follow him. Now what about the others? What kind heroes does the hero course kind worship? "So, what are your personal favorites heroes?" asked Senku. "Mine is All Might," said Midoriya, all proud, as Senku seemed to not care for that. "I'm more of a 13 kind person. I just love someone that is called the space heroine," So, what about you, Senku? Asked Uraraka. My heroes are Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, Marie Curie, said him listening famous scientist. The heroes' kids were a little confused by that list. Those people weren't heroes, they have been dead for almost 2,000 years. Silly Senku, those aren't heroes. They are scientists, said Uraraka with a smile. Is there any law that said that a person hero has to be a pro-hero? Asked Senku, shocking the other teens. You don't like heroes? Asked Midoriya. I never said that. Since you people are hero students, it's obvious that you all have someone in the business to worship. Me, I worship my kind of heroes, said Senku, all sincere and straight to the point. Midoriya was taken back by that. For years he was only surrounded by people who liked heroes and only talked about heroes, and here it comes this guy saying that a hero is someone that you worship in your field. Just because he doesn't have a cape doesn't mean he can't be called a hero. So now, thinking a little bit about Senku list, Midoriya came to a conclusion. You are a scient? Asked him. Darn right I am, said Senku with a smirk. The heroes were now impressed by this. Someone of their age a scientist? That is pretty cool. This sounds so cool. We nerve meet a scientist before, said Uraraka. So is a pleasure to meet you, and I hope you make all kind remarkable discovery, said Ida, all serious that didn't even sound human. Don't talk like that, you are scaring everyone around you, said Senku, weird out. The three hero students were continuing to talk about what would be next in their class after their presidential election. Senku, while still waiting for Teiju and Yuzuriha come back with his food and some company, noticed Midoriya staring at him. He is impressive. His mind is totally different from the other students that I meet around here. Oh, Midoriya still looking at Senku until the scientist looked at him very serious. Hey Midoriya, can I ask a question? Is about All Might? Asked Senku. Sure, go ahead, said Midoriya. Who is Toss? Said Senku, but before he could finish a big sound was heard throughout the school. Soon everyone started to panic as people left their table left and right and began to run. What is this? Asked Izuku. The alarm, said Senku. All the students, please evacuate in orderly fashion. That has been break on security level 3, said the voice. Senku was ready to go, but he needs to find his friend first. He could Teiju lifting Yuzuriha on his arms as he was ready to storm out of the place like a gorilla, but he wanted to make sure his classmates were also saved. He then saw Kohaku group pretty much stuck at their table as a crowd of people continued to wrestle out in their way to the exit. It was like old times. Apparently having superheroes don't change the human behavior. What is happening here? This is a school of heroes and they all are acting like a bunch of kids, thought Senku, nervous as he saw the table of his friends being attacked. Everybody please follows the instructions. There is no need for this rush, said Kinru, trying to act calm during this. However, that went south as Jinru was dragged by the crowd. Kinru, save me, screamed Jinro. Ginrou, screamed Kinro. Kohaku was now trembling in fear. She can't just punch her way out of this. She wants a solution, a peaceful solution to end this. Oh my god, what can we do? Thought her. Get of my way, screamed Magma, running. Move. I wanna leave, said Yo. Don't touch me, said Kirasame. Senku was seeing the situation get worse by the second. He needs a plan, and now. At this rate, this place is gonna be a slaughterhouse caused by the students themselves. I need to make sure that nobody gets hurt. But how? Thought him. That's when he saw Jen and Foot on one of the tables getting the attention of several students. Please follow to the back. I'm pretty sure any villain wouldn't be stupid enough to attack from there. After all, they like a show, said Jen, instructing some people into the exit. He then saw Akayo doing naval tactic to make sure nobody is hurt, and they move along fine. There are exits down there. Don't push it and get away safely, said the blonde teen. On the right there was Ryusui using his captain ways to guide the people into not acting like headless chickens all over the lunchroom. This place is like a ship with no captain. So, listen everybody up. The emergency exit is down there. If you are too dumb that can't read, then my condolences. Now don't be in such a rush, said him while snapping his fingers. And there was Chrome. Even if he wasn't the strongest guy there, he was determined and smart enough to guide his friends to a safe spot where they can go to an emergency exit with no stomps or hits. Let's go guys. We can make it. Stay together. Like we always been, said him, guiding Jinro, Kinro and Kohaku. They were all following his like he was their leave. Senku was looking his classmates and was in shock and kind impressed with the work of Jen, Chrome, Ryusui and Akayo. These guys ... are perfect, thought Senku with a little smile in his face. He saw Tsukasa eating outside. He was with Hamura and Hyoga. He could see that they went directly to the classroom. He figures out that he wasn't a big fan of this riot happening here around his students. There was no villain attack, so he wasn't worried. The big guy was smart enough to stay there, thought Senku. Now it was time to Senku think of a scientific way of get out of this situation. But how? Senku, screamed Teju, carrying Senku like a sack of potatoes as he passed by every student in the full lines. He was like a wrecking bull in full power. What are you doing? Asked Senku in horror. We will take you to the classroom. Someone invaded the school grunt, screamed Tejo. Do you think the teachers will catch them? Asked Yuzuriha, worried as she was also being carried by Teju. They must been doing this right now. Is their jobs, said Teju to his girlfriends. Soon after this whole mess was over. At 1D, the class was all there sane and safe. Some have little brews of bigger students stopping them and hitting them in panic. But the fact that everyone was alive was a miracle on itself. This was intense, said Francois, drinking some coffee that they made. I got say, UA has a shitty security system, said Yo. Scary, said Hamura. I know Hamura, said Hyoga, comforting his childhood friend. Boy, I need an afternoon to relax after all this, said Jinru, wanting to stay on his bed playing games all afternoon. So pretty much a usual afternoon for you, asked Kinro, irritated that Jinro wasn't studying as he asked for it. When I get my hands on the punk who did, said Nikki, all pissed. You will do the same thing that I'm also planning, said Magma, also angry. I'm so scared. I thought I was going to die, said Minami, crying. Stop crying, said Kirisame. Whoever did this came here with a plan, said Tsukasa. Soon Keisuke came back to his classroom and everyone went back to their seats. Sensei, any news? What happened to the school security? Asked Chrome. Well, I heard it was the press. A reporter sneak into the school ground and the alarm sound off, said Keisuke, reporting what he heard from the other regular course teachers. Those bastards, said Kohaku, pissed. They risk the security of the students just for a scoop of All Might. If I were a cop, I would arrest all the reporters that I see, said Yo. Don't you try to act like you are the higher authority, said Nikki. Minami took a deep and started to talk about reporters and their love for scoops. Okay, I know that reports nowadays are hated because they didn't shut up about heroes and tend to be rude. But don't call everyone that work in the journalist field like a pest, said Minami, all serious, gathering the attention of everyone in the classroom. This is how they act. They are sick us, said Jinro. Don't call us like we are a sick race. I wanna be a journalist, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna break the rules of the biggest school of the country just to know some stupid secret about a hero teacher, said her, all serious. Keisuke only smiled at that. Minami standing up for the profession of her dreams. She wants to be a reporter, but nothing like those insects. Well, let's seal down about this whole reporter discussion and go back on what is really important, said Keisuke. Yes, let's see the votes, said Tejo. Runner-up of votes, Senku Ishigami 11, Tsukasa Shishio 9. Senku was in shock to see that he won, and Tsukasa was with a little bit of disappointment that he lost the election. Congratulations everybody. Senku is your president and Tsukasa your vice, said Keisuke. Well, this was very obvious. Either way is gonna work, said Kohaku. Senku went to the front of the class with Tsukasa. He had a determined smirk in his face while Tsukasa was all stoic, like nothing of this was important to him. Don't worry, big guy. I may handle the decision and trades, but physical workout and training of the class, I leave everything to you. Do whatever you want with them, said Senku with a laugh. Tsukasa, look at this. Senku gave permission to him to train the entire class. Maybe this could work. Many say that the general education class was always the weakest course of UA. So, with him as a main trainer, thing would change. Yes, sure, said Tsukasa with a smile. The class was now with a smile and wondering where those two will take them into the future. Alright, I present to you all your class president and vice president, said Keisuke, all proud. Hooray, Senku, said Teju, all happy. I knew that either of them would get that position, said Kohaku. Alright, before we move on, I have already a big rule to pass around in the class, said Senku. The entire class was now frozen in nerve. What did that crazy scientist had in mind for now? While I was watching the chaos around the lunchroom disaster, I saw some interesting people from our class that out of nowhere were ready to risk and try to help. I heard their plan, and I was surprised with their ideas and determination, said Senku. The students were all confused. Who was all calm and trying to help the others during that riot? Most of them were trying to run for the lives. People, asked Nikki. These people will be like the class higher council. Think of them as part of the president team. Whatever decision I have is gonna pass by Tsukasa and them. So, we have more than one mind to make the decisions, said Senku, surprising the class even more. Do you know what are you doing? Asked Matsukaze. This plan sounds good but not normal for a high school classroom. Yes, and I already have the choices, said Senku. He is fast, thought most of the class. Okay, first one. Akayo Seijin. Akayo got spooked upon hearing his name. He remembers helping some students during the chaos, but he didn't expect that would get Senku interest. Come up here, said Senku. Akayo get up from his seat and stand next to Senku and Tsukasa. Truth be told, he hated being on the center of too much attention. You used naval tactics in order to help the students, but also made sure that they didn't hurt each other. Is that correct? Asked Senku. Yes, my family has a big history in the Navy, so I know most of the tactics and ideas of how to order around a big group of people. Also, I'm not a fan of violence. I always try to use words and plans before going to attacks. I know how to defend myself, but I use this as my last resort, said Akayo. Senku and Tsukasa was very impressed with this guy's attitude. In a war, you always need a guy who wants to have things end up with no violence. Plus, with all that naval knowledge in hand, it might be useful for them in the future. So, Akayo needed to stay. You are going to be one of our main council members, so stay here, said Senku. Thanks, said Akayo, standing next to the president and vice president. Next to Sajiri Gen, said Senku, getting everyone's surprise. Oh my, do I hear my name to be part of this prestigious group? But tell me, my dear Senku-kun, why the honor? Asked him. As much I hate guys like you that do everything for money, you are probably the best liar around the school, said Senku. I can do what it takes to make sure that I'm okay. The human mind is difficult to play with, but with my quirk and my tuitions there is none that I can't read, said Gen with his crypt smile. Well, that is creepy, but we need you here, so move, said Senku. Gen obey him and stands next to Akayo. Ryusui Nanami, said Senku. Well, isn't that a surprise, said the rich blonde with a smirk. You were incredible during the riot. You made sure people got to safe routes with no problems, said Senku. Of course, I am a captain. I see UA as my ship and I want to make sure that all my men are behaving, otherwise they won't get paid. When you are in the big leagues, you need to explore some people to get the best out of the others, said Ryusui. Tsukasa didn't like that. People greedy like Ryusui were some that he despises deeply. However, Senku whispers something to him. We need him for funding. I know you hate him, but you get to boss him around. How is that? Whisper Senku with a smirk. Tsukasa has a little smile on that. Whatever Senku plan was, he hope is for the best of the class. Soon Ryusui stand next to Gen and Akayo. And finally, Chrome Suisuke, said Senku, making the class confused. Huh, said Chrome, confused. He chose Chrome. Asked Kohaku, confused. Come up here, said Senku. Sure, said the young geologist, very confused. Chrome went near Akayo, Gen and Ryusui and was wondering what Senku had in mind for him. You were very brave in the riot. I saw you saving your friends and guiding them to a safe route. Can you tell us how you did that? Asked Senku with a raised eyebrow. When we were young, we used to hang out in caves, and I knew what to do in order to make them follow me. So, I envisioned the lunchroom as another cave, said Chrome. He always guided us because he knew all the entrance and exits, said Jinro. He is actually a really determined guy if given the right material, said Kinro. Senku liked this. He saw his vice and the 4 other boys next to him. With them, his quest to beat the hero course is gonna be easy. You all will be my 4 wise generals. When Tsukasa and I need to settle a problem, we want you 4 by our side, said Senku as he presents the class to their new council. The 4 wise generals were formed. I like this title, said Yo. Oh yeah, this is epic, said Jinru. I can make shirts of this, said Yuzureha. This will be interesting for the following years, said Nikki. Wow, he picked the smartest guys in the class in Chorm, said Kohaku with a confused look. You are only saying that because you weren't chose, screamed Chrome. Whatever, said Kohaku. The class was still in wonder on how these wise generals will play out in the future. So, you guys accept this post? Asked Senku, and the answer was pretty quick. Yes, sure, said Ryusui. Of course, said Gen. I will do my best, said Akayo. Don't worry, Senku. You can count on me, said Chrome. However, Tsukasa was confused on all this. They were just elect and Senku does something like this. Tsukasa, I know this isn't what you were planning, but trust me, this is way better. We will achieve the peak of this school. Not using hero methods or strength methods, but scientific methods. But I will let you also play around. So, what do you say? Asked Senku. The buff teen was caught by this. He wanted to everybody to follow his method, but maybe patterning up with Senku might not be a bad idea. I think about it, said Tsukasa. The answer made Senku grim and soon Tsukasa started to speak up. I will be making a program for the most athletic and strongest members of this classroom. Every time after PE I will see who has the condition of joining what I'm thinking of making for this class. A power teams. So, do you think that anyone here is able to accept this challenge? Asked Tsukasa. The students, especially those who like to fight, were intrigued by this and were ready to shout. Of course, said Kohaku. Already. I will be there, said Hyoga. I will show him how powerful I am, said Magma. I can show them what I can do, said Nikki. My throwing never fails, said Kirasame. I will do this, said Hamura. I hope Kinru doesn't drag me to this, thought Jinru. That's what he would want, thought Matsukaze, thinking of his childhood friend. The class was all but full of ideas. They didn't stop to question and discuss ideas, and this what Keisuke liked the most about his class, on how active they were. Oh my, this is great, thought the old man with a tea in his eyes. Later after class, Keisuke was cleaning his briefcase when Senku came to see him. Sensei, said the young scientist. Oh, Senku, what is the problem? Asked Keisuke. I want to give you this, said Senku, giving the old teacher a paper. What is this? Asked him. Something that you are gonna like, said Senku with a smile. Keisuke was now seeing in shock what was in that paper. It was a list of weapons. Well, this is interesting, said Keisuke. Senku only smirks. I would like you to make weapons for the members of the power team. This way they are not gonna rely only in quirk to fight, said Senku. But isn't this against the rules of UA? Asked Keisuke. Don't worry, I checked the document 3 times already. If we only use the weapons in combat, we are fine. The heroes can't take your inventions from you, said Senku. Keisuke was now intrigued. It's been years since he has done any craftsmanship, and these weapons seemed like a great challenge. So, tell me, sensei, how is your blood right now? Asked Senku. The old man then started to grow muscles as his face was now full serious. Boiling, screamed Keisuke, ripping off his uniform. Senku only smiled at this. He got himself a useful teacher. Oh yeah, said Senku. At the back of UA, Nezu and the other heroes were seeing that the back of the school was destroyed by some kind disintegration quirk. Whoever did this wasn't a reporter. No ordinary reporter could have done that. We need to level up the security of this place immediately, said Nezu, afraid of what horrors might come next. It's been a whole week since the announcement of the presidents, and overall things on 1D were pretty normal. Do your homework, study, PE, lunch, and etc. Overall, the kids were having normal school interactions and not all the ludicrous things that commercial will do for UA. Well, another day, another thing to learn, said Akayo with a smile as he enters alongside Minami. Another day on the education course, while the others' class have all the fun, said Yo. Boring. I bet they are having such awesome time there with their quirks and stuff, said Jinro. Soon Francois heard that stupid complaints and decided to give a little speech. Don't talk like they have a party every day. For what I heard, the hero course bust off more energy in a day during their training than us in a whole week of PE. Combine that with Japanese school level of homework and dedication, they are pretty much 0% in terms of free time or relaxation. So, I would say, Jinro-san, be glad that you are in a boring education course, or you will be still with a book in your face, said Francois, bringing a good point, making the blonde a little nervous. Good point, Francois. You are right. Heroes are the group of employers with least free time. After the sports festival, the guys from the hero course will be doing everything to get the attention of the pro. So not only they have excessive training, overbearing school discipline, but they are also interning. If this was a non-quirk environment, this would cause so many problems of child labor laws. Am I right, Francois? Asked Rusui, drinking his mineral water. Good answer, Rusui-sama. Also, I have your lunch ready in a good temperature, plus the bread and homemade butter, said Francois, smiling at their master answer. Oh great, I can't wait for lunch, said Rusui, snapping his finders. Snap. The class was surprised by the blonde answered. They imagined, for the way he talked and acted, he was just some stereotypical blonde guy with money. I am not just a rich asshole. I learned since childhood that in order to make money you have to play ahead. That's why I have my eyes on diverse things around this school. I just don't want to talk to you all about that because ... well, business, said Ryusui with a smile. Well, at least he is someone to not be judged, said Hyoga, surprised. Good, said Hamura. Well, at least we know that our sweet Ryusui-kun is a schemer just like me. Oh, the things we can get if we help each other, said Jen with a smile. Shut up, Jen. I don't want any internet money, I want the big league money, said Ryusui with a smile. Well, I'm not sure about that. I love money, but if you want to talk with me we can discuss some future partnerships, said Jen with a smile. Whatever, said Ryusuo, going to his seat. After the whole class sit down, only one person was missing, and that Keisuke-sensei. Soon the old man appeared out of the door, but this time he seemed super tense and feeling like he had spent a whole night working. Boom. Oh boy, I am so worked up, said the old man, all excited, going up and down on the class. Sensei, are you okay? Asked Kohaku. Of course I am. I made this, said him, going to the hallway to pull out a giant cart full of things in boxes and other form of preservation. But what is all this? Asked Kirasame. The result of an entire week of hard work and dedication, said Keisuke. For what? Asked Mitsukaze. Senku only laughs, catching the attention of all his classmates. So the time has come. Well, I think it's time to the truth be revealed. Tsukasa, get up, it's time to make an announcement, said Senku. Tsukasa listened to his class representative and did that. Soon both him and Senku were in the front of the class. Sensei, you know what to do now, said Senku with a smirk. Sure, said Keisuke, all pumped and with steam coming out of his nose. Senku, what is going on? What are you doing and what are those things inside of the boxes? Asked Tsukasa, and Senku only laughs at that. Well, here is going to be our main weapon against most of the classes, including the hero course. I made a list of the most athletic person of this class, capable of holding some kind weapon. Since this class doesn't have the most flash quirks, we are going to rely most on your fighting skill and weapon holdery. So are you all able to stand to this challenge? Asked Senku to his classmates with his arms crossed. He had his smug smile of triumph. The entire class was now a little curious on how Senku did all this and what was the next step to take. But how do you know who to make weapons for it? Asked Magma. It was easy. In the few weeks we had class and when I had conciseness during PE, I made this list, and after a little background check I had pretty much my top choices, said Senku, surprising the class. So, you did a super researcher on almost everyone in this class? Asked Jinro in shock. Yes, and I made sure to not get any little detail being missed, said Senku with a sinister smirk, making most of the class sweat in fear. What is going on here? Thought most of them. Were they going to be slaves of this guy, and the only persons acting all normal toward all this were Teiju and Yuzuriha because they knew Senku had a good idea in his head for their classmates. Put your PE clothes and go to the training center. I will reveal everything there, said Senku as he and Keisuke transported all the box with weapons to the training ground. The class did that. They soon followed their teacher and their class representative. Now see you all at the training ground. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 3. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.